Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Now today I have another ESO video. Now I know you guys have probably heard about the Theodolite new dwarven pet, and if you guys are interested on how to get this pet, I'm doing a guide right now on how to do it. So basically the easiest way I found to get this pet is you need to go to the Nchuleftingth, however you would say that, group dungeon, which is a public dungeon. Anyone can go into it. You can be there by yourself if no one happens to be on, or you can happen to wind up, if you go at the right time, with a group of 50 or 60 people in there. And if you do it right, you'll be able to farm this very efficiently. Now, when you first walk in there will be a quest that you can do, and it is called the Heart's Desire quest. Now, I'm going to warn you real quick, this dungeon is nearly impossible to do by yourself, or if you're a really low level. Now, if you're a max level at 630 when you're doing this by yourself, it's obviously possible and really not that difficult. But if you're a lower level, like below 200, I probably wouldn't try to do it by myself. But if you can do it with friends, it's very helpful. And if you're below level 200, I don't really think you should try it by yourself. I was trying it with a level 14 character for a little bit, and I was struggling until I was finally able to get into a nice group of people. And it's very, very difficult to attempt by yourself. So I recommend trying to play with friends or grouping up with random people that happen to be there with you. That's what I did, was grouped up with random people. Now, the Heart's Desire quest does not run you through the entire place. It just takes you to the majority of the Dwemer dungeon. Now, I recommend doing the quest simply because you're going to get a little bit of rewards, and you'll get, I don't know, just experience the quest and get to see the place ran through one time. But it is definitely not all there is to the dungeon, so I would do the quest, then go back and farm the dungeon like I did. I probably farmed the dungeon for 2 hours. I ranked up from level 14 to level 19, and then I had 5,000 gold. I went to 15,000 gold. Now, of course, I did pop an experience scroll, which I would recommend if you're going to go in here. Make sure to use an experience scroll, because that is so helpful. It is extremely helpful to use an experience scroll, because it's going to let you level up. Like I said, I only played for 2 hours, and that entire time I had an experience scroll. So you're going to get a lot of gold, and you're going to get a lot of items. If you can bring a merchant, like if you have someone that's a high enough level that has a merchant, or you have a merchant, make sure to bring them, because it's extremely important that you're going to be able to sell items. Or you might not necessarily if you have a big enough inventory, but after doing it for a while, your inventory could fill up pretty quickly, especially if you're lower level. And now, a couple things to mention before I get into the Theodolite. There's a Sky Shard. There's 4 bosses that you can farm. There is the Linnerman, which is the big boss. There's a Mud Tusk, which is fantastic for farming. It's like a river troll scattered throughout, except it's a much stronger river troll, but it has fantastic gear. There's a giant spider, which is kind of a favorite for people to farm, but I don't like it as much. And then there's some twins right when you walk into the ruins, and they are really tough. They heal each other. I recommend to attack one at a time when you go against the twins. Now, so you might be wondering, how do I get the Theodolite, and what do I do? So what you need to know is that there is 7 pieces to the Theodolite, and it reads off as a head, chassis, neck, shoulders, torso, eyes, and wheels. Now, I found 2 of everything except for the eyes and wheels, and the people I was talking to led me to believe that the eyes and the wheels are the rarest to find. And these pieces, while might not look like much when you originally get them, only saying they're worth about 13 gold, if you have a guild, they sell for about 20 to 30,000 gold per item, except for the eyes and wheels, which sell for even more. And if you get the Theodolite room box and you don't open it, you don't get the actual pet, then you can sell that for up to 300,000 gold, because people aren't really going to want to look for the parts. If they can just get the box for as much as it costs, that's the way to do it. And now I got duplicates for almost everything. So besides the gold that I made, I only made about 10,000 gold. But if I go sell all of this, I'm going to make about 100,000 worth of gold. If I don't want the pet, I can make probably 200,000 or more than that, which is a fantastic profit, because it's just a great deal. You go through, you grind a little bit, you play with friends. It is a little bit of a grind, I'm not going to lie. For a while, I was getting a ton of them. I got a bunch of them in like the span of 30 minutes, and then I went probably an hour without getting one for a long time. So I would recommend that. I'm not sure exactly what to do, but I would just recommend that you play for a couple hours, and you should definitely get maybe 5 or 6 pieces, a couple duplicates more than likely, but if you get the eyes and wills, make sure to sell those. If you don't want the pet, make sure to sell those. And if not, like I said, you can buy the pet for probably around 300,000 gold. You can buy each part for probably around 20 or 30,000. And then if you're feeling lucky, you can go into this dungeon and you can test your luck out. Try to get the pet legitimately by yourself. Now, this, like I said, this is very difficult to do, especially just completing the dungeon in general by yourself is extremely difficult. If you don't have any friends to play with, you can go down in forums on ESO, or you can, try to find people on the game that'll play with you. If you just go into a random city and you try to ask someone to group with you, I'm sure someone will eventually say yes. Or you can just walk in there and try to group with anybody in general. There will be a lot of people waiting to play. People are excited to play, obviously. So there's going to be someone that's going to play with you, especially if you get a group of low-level people. While it'll be difficult and challenging, it'll still be fun, and you'll be able to get through it. If there's just one low-level person, it's almost impossible because the mass of people that there's so many spiders that come out at once, or those big Dwarmer Curatons or whatever they're called, and then there is the attackers that will also kill you, and they all are in mass hordes. So it's easier to do, even if you're both or 3 of you are like level 10. I think it's much more doable than like one level 20 or something, simply because it is just really a teamwork type quest. It's almost impossible to complete this dungeon by yourself if you're a low level. So that's my recommendation to you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. One thing I want to point out before I leave is that it's really important that if you're playing in a group of like 60 people, like I was playing in a group of 20 towards the end of the time I was playing, you get significantly less XP. When I was playing with just 2 people, I was getting about 2,000 XP per encounter, but then when I got to 20 people, it got ridiculous. I started to get really low XP. I would get maybe 60 XP for every group of people that you kill. With 20 people, that is a lot. That is a huge group. So I'm sure most of you probably won't have a group of 20, but if you do, I'm just letting you know you're going to get significantly less XP. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Pumpplay signing off.